I became a guest for a couple months before I joined. I was very inspired by the schedule presentation, and I did want to improve my public speaking skills because I am not a native speaker for English. A lot of the members, like Nancy herself, is a leader at ATEC, and then other members, they were either team lead or the leadership role in the respective organizations. They must have something very unique. That's why they become leaders, right? But they are still willing to learn from others and trying to share their experience and to mentor other new members. That's really very inspiring.
Welcome, fellow viewers. I'm here with good friend Chi Chin, who I met through Toastmasters. This is the Evolving in Toastmasters podcast uh, with your host, Nick, uh, for the Journey to You channel. Like I said, I'm here with Chi Chin. She's from the Susquehanna Club where we met. I briefly mentored her through our first few speeches, so I had some hands-on experience with her experience in Toastmasters. At the time when you joined the Susquehanna Club, Chichin, where were you working?
I have been working at DEFCON Army Research Lab ever since we moved up to Maryland 13 years ago. So same organization, I never changed. Yeah, that's where I was then and where I am now.
Awesome. Yeah, getting a good background on Chichin's work will help us understand what she was looking for when she joined Toastmasters, so what she was trying to improve. So before we get to the Toastmasters related questions, we're gonna jump into something that's kind of like icebreaker questions
Mhm.
to get to know our guest, kind of like table topics, impromptu speaking. She's gonna be put on the spot. She doesn't know what these questions are beforehand, so they're gonna be kind of a surprise to her. So we'll get some genuine, off the cuff answers. So again, Chichin, take as little or as much time as you want with your answers so that we can get the most out of it.
Mhm.
First question: what book are you most likely to give as a gift?
What book?
It looks like you got a lot of books behind you on those shelves back there. So,
Uh,
what book would you be most likely to give as a gift?
Probably the sewing book. I actually started sewing almost 20 years ago, and I really love it. I feel like everybody can do sewing, and it's a very good meditation for working professionals, and it give you a very good accomplishment feeling. At least that's what I have been feeling about sewing. You can start a project as little as just making a tablecloth or a curtain or pillowcase. It gives you kind of comforting because you decorate your home for your own loved ones. And I have a lot of the sewing book since I started my first one. So I probably would just pick one and give to a friend if somebody has birthday coming up or some special occasion. That will be my first choice, I guess.
Very cool. Um, yeah, sewing's a great hobby because you get to make things.
Mhm.
I like hobbies where you get to make things, and then you get not only can you give that book as a gift, but you can give stuff that you make as a gift.
Mm.
My wife likes to do pottery, and she's been
Oh, that's very cool too.
making.
I like art. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm very
yeah.
artistic
We
growing
have a
up.
friend that runs a place called the Art Den. They do pottery, painting. Um,
Mhm.
my daughter's a great artist, so she made a painting for my
Oh, that's
mom
cool.
this past weekend for her birthday. So,
Uh-huh.
um,
Uh-huh.
and so we like to make things.
Mhm. Me
And
too.
sewing's a great hobby because it comes in handy for repairing clothing, making
Mhm.
new clothing. We do something called live action role playing. Or, we have to make medieval garb
Uh-huh.
or we'll get something and then we'll want to add something to it or hem it so that it fits
Mhm.
better. Uh,
Mhm.
so my
Yeah.
wife's the sewer. I have a little bit experience with it. I can do it in a pinch,
Wow,
but
that's great
certainly
to know.
not my best skill.
Yeah, I have a lot of different hobbies outside my work actually. I'm very good at drawing growing up as a little girl. That's the hobby I didn't make any effort, but I always did a very good job in competition. So, and I remember when I was in elementary school, my art teacher always give me the suggestion, why don't you become an art teacher in the future? But I feel like, okay, I want to do something else. So I keep it as my just the hobby. And then I pick up some music instrument, and then after we bought the first house in the US, I started gardening. So, I mean, being a ARL scientist, I love to do research and all the cool project for the U.S. Army. But now it becomes like the work occupy 99% of my time. So that's a kind of a struggle to me. The only thing I still hang on to is running because it keep me healthy. So sometimes I will pray or complain to God that how come I cannot just have multiple time so I can do everything else, but I know that's impossible. So now I'm kind of looking forward to after I retire. I mean, it will be still far away from now, but I already look forward to it. So I can go back to all those hobbies and then to really enjoy them at full time.
Yeah. Everybody says it's great to have a career that you enjoy, that you get a lot of pleasure out of, but
Mhm,
it's even more important to have those joyous hobbies to fall back on to relieve the stress of the career,
mm.
the work life.
Yeah, that's
I'm an engineer, you're a scientist, so we both use our brains intellectually all day, and it's great to have a hobby that doesn't that that's more of a skill to fall back on when you get home to relax and
mm.
do that. It's gonna take some brain power. You gotta be creative in a completely different way than you are at work, I'm sure,
Yeah, that's
with
true.
sewing. And
Mhm.
so that's really cool. Great to know. One thing I had a question about though, with a sewing book, what exactly is in there?
Oh, it depends. There are so many different directions. I mean, of course, there's sewing 101 from singers, so that can come with introduce the basic feature of a sewing machine. So you start to have the idea and the tools, supplies, and then it depends on the different projects. Like my books, I have the books for just the cushion, and the book will contain what kind of the cushion you want to make. For example, like couch or simple chair. And I have books, it's called 1 yard project. So all you need for each project is just 1 yard of the cloth. So it will make a simple decorative small tablecloth or a bib or handkerchief. And I have books for making the bag, handbag. And inside that book, you can have different kind of handbag, like the lady style, or you can make the laptop sleeve or the wallet or the baby more like a baby, how do you call that, baby package to contain with the compartment, so you can have the bottle in some in some
Wow.
pocket, and then others like diapers. And I have a book specifically for, say, making the tops, lady tops, and I have another one is specifically for apron, all kinds of apron. You can have the overall, or you have just the skirt, or the country style, or more advanced. It just depends on what interests you. It doesn't mean that I do make so many things. I just like to browse them, flip,
Right.
and most of those books I bought more than 10 years ago when people still go to the bookstore, right? Now we buy everything from Amazon. At that time, we live in Charlottesville, Virginia. We have a very good, big Barnes and Noble, and my kids were little. So our entertainment is to go there and then read books. And I always just snatch the bargain book. They always have happy book as bargain book. So as soon as the price go down, I would just buy it. And it's just fun to flip the pages and to browse those ideas and see the designs. Yeah, that's so there are a variety of them.
Yeah. So you got books to start for a beginner to learn how to
Yes,
use the machine, and then books to learn new skills, how to
yeah.
build
Mhm.
different things, and also to inspiring to creativity and
Yes,
different designs you can do.
exactly.
That's really cool. All
And
right.
they have the patterns too. You can just copy the pattern and then make the project.
All right. We're gonna switch to a new question now that kind of switch things up a little bit. What's the nicest thing anyone's ever done for you?
Nicest thing, you mean in life
Yeah,
or
in life, any
uh,
age.
oh, I pretty much have people who really made me turn around my life, especially in my professional life. So that's where I am, which I'm really very grateful. I don't know how it comes to. For example, like my first mentor, um, long story short was I used to be a consultant in the engineering consultant in Taiwan before and after my first PhD. And then my son, the second year we moved back to Taipei, my son was born. And then I just tired of being consultant anymore because I just don't see I will enjoy that the rest of my life. So I found a postdoctoral position in at Academia Sinica in Taipei, which is equivalent to the national lab here in the US. So my mentor, he wanted to find a chemical engineer, which is what I was, to make a deposition system for him. And what I never imagined was because of that position brought me to material science, because the material I have to make require a lot of the characterization, which I never had any training. So I until now I still feel that's a very important milestone of my career and my life, because if my mentor didn't inspire me back then in material science, I would not have decided to pursue study something new, completely different from chemical engineering, and we would never have come back to the States. And then another important person would be, so that brought me to University of Virginia. I was very lucky to meet my advisor, who was a very big name in material science. He took me in and really trained me because he knew this is my second chance. He trained me to be a independent, capable scientist, which really I benefit till now. And ARL too, I I just feel like alone, such a long way. I always have nice people who value my knowledge and my effort and trying to help me in all different ways. Like I used to be a contractor in my old branch. The After a Columbus Day holiday, then the branch found out the money didn't come in. So I was in a job crisis, even though I was one of the superstars in the branch. But my current branch, the branch chief back then, because I was the technical lead, he took me in right away. That's pretty much totally changed my life. And 2 years ago, he helped me so much and encouraged me to pursue promotion. Otherwise, I would not have been where I am right now. I feel, and plus, of course, my mentor at ARL, all those people who are important and they help me as a colleagues and also as good friends. So those are nice people, good to me and to my family.
That's a wonderful story about how you can change your career to find what you want to do. Not necessarily, you find your career kind of stagnant, or maybe you're not doing exactly what you want to do, and
Mm-hmm.
it's never too late to change to find that. And having other people that can support you in that is paramount.
Mm-hmm.
For anything that you want to gain a new skill or something, you got to have a mentor, somebody to teach you, somebody to show you things, somebody to give you direction, somebody to give you feedback. So
Yeah,
those mentors are so important.
yeah. I
Um,
completely agree. Yeah. Especially in the government business,
yeah,
mentor pretty much is the key because a mentor, they stay in the organization for such a long time. They know what language you should speak or how to adjust your mindset when challenge comes. Sometimes you just need the guidance. Otherwise, you don't know what to do or how to react would be the most appropriate. So I really appreciate all those people. And we become very good lifetime friends as well.
one other thing I want to pull out of your story is that you hear a lot that to get a job, to get into a company, you might need to know somebody. It's who you know in the business. And that's
Mm,
kind of what we're hearing here is, you had somebody you knew, but it wasn't just somebody you knew that was going to get you that in. It was somebody that was going to also be that mentor and somebody that's going to guide you. So who you know is important, but it's also what they can do for you in addition. Um, sometimes it's just somebody to get you in the door, and then you're the rock star, and you're gonna be able to shine your own light. But other
mm,
times, when you get in that door, you need to be oriented. You need guidance. It's something new and exciting, but you may be lost. You need that. You need
mhm,
that person on the inside to help you with that.
mhm.
It's a great story. I really enjoyed listening to that. I got one more question, and we're sticking with the philosophical type questions here. Now, you've written your autobiography. What do you title it? You've written your autobiography. What do you title it?
Title it. I actually write my bio quite often, short or long, for all different purposes. I I don't know. Title Dr. Qing Wu? No.
Eh,
Like I serve on the e-cyber mission national judging and education event every year. Again, this year will be June. every time they ask me to update my bio, I just do some minor modification. Pretty much everything is new, and I try not to emphasize too much about the professional achievement. I emphasize more about what other things I like, because I don't want people to see us scientists and engineer or federal employees as bookworms. So yeah, I probably just title myself as a ordinary people person. Yeah.
So there is there a message that you'd want to put in that
Oh,
autobiography, something that you want people to learn from you?
oh, that's a good point. I never thought about that. Actually, I wish I would have an opportunity to write a memoir or something when I have time, because I do have lots and lots of the stories which I think can share with the young people. Probably small Asian American come to America or something like that. Because I'm small, I remember when my kids were little, especially when my son was in kindergarten, or we move in our first house and I have to accompany him to wait for the school bus. And then one day, my son said, "Mommy, don't come to wait for the bus for me. I can just wait myself because we are on a busy road." I was like, "No way I would do that." I say, "Why?" And then my son said, "Because all the people on the bus are staring at us. They ask me why your mother is so small." I don't know. I'm really very small, but I'm a quite ambitious woman, I would think. I mean, I think myself I have a very special character which I cannot say I'm proud of, but I think that make where I am or what I do. I'm a person not afraid of failure, or I'm a fighter, because I don't easily just succumb to the environment. And I attribute to actually my late father. The reason is I didn't get to school until the first day of first grade. I'm not sure if I have mentioned that in Toastmaster before,
I don't think so.
because in Taiwan, Asian country has the public system, education system is slightly different from the U.S. Now Taiwan has the optional kindergarten sponsored by the elementary school. At my time, there was no free kindergarten. So when I get to the school age, my family just moved out of the military housing. My father was in the Taiwanese Air Force. So I'm the middle of the four kids, and my two siblings, my older brother and sister, they went to preschool, which was free, offered in the child care on the base. But we move out the housing, and it's quite far away, so there's no way my father would spend money to give me to preschool or the kindergarten nearby. So I just stay home with my mom until the day I could go to school. I remember the first day of my school, I was so happy. Finally, it arrived. I think that pretty much, maybe by instinct, drove me the personality that I just like to learn. For example, like my brother-in-law used to tease me, I'm a forever student. I counted my education years because that's what we need to report when I apply citizenship. I was surprised myself. I was at school for 28 years overall, from first grade to my PhDs. That's horrible, isn't it? But I think that's pretty much shape up where what I am. So yeah. So it's not easy. Like I feel like I have to fight my status When I was little, I was a girl, and it's pretty much male dominant society. And my father was from China. So he had a very concrete idea about only son counts. He didn't care at all girls because we are going to marry somebody and then no longer belong to the family. He wanted me to be a secretary, the administrative job, or become a post office clerk. So we had a lot of fights because I wanted to pursue STEM and I wanted to leave the family. And then after that, see, I came to the United States, and then after my PhDs, I have to get my my status in order to establish my family and get a good job. And then after that, I became a contractor. I want to be part of the organization. And then a few years later, I became a civilian. But I realized that the more I get, the busier I become. But life become more challenging. But you feel there's more meaningful. You feel like you can do a lot of things. Of course, the life become more complicated, but I feel that's a very rewarding experience for me. And I really would like to share my experience to young people who are discouraged by whatever the reason. That's why I have a very special passion to wherever I can have some influences. For example, like at ARL, I am the counselor. We have a DEI. How do you call that? Diversive. E means
Equity
equality,
or equality.
equity, and inclusion. And I do the same for my Material Research Society, and I'm leading the Researcher of Color group, trying to help other people to share the experience together. I hope
Fantastic.
that yeah, that's what I'm hoping I can continue to do in the future.
You have some amazing stories there from your journey from Taiwan to where you are now. I can't wait to read your memoir when you get around to writing it. Don't wait
Probably
till
you need
retirement to
to.
start putting together stories because you're gonna forget some of them. But it's
Yeah.
and it's so great that you're giving back by being a mentor, by being a leader in those groups, and telling your stories to uh, to young people to help them on their journeys, help them knock down barriers, help them don't be intimidated when things are rough or things aren't going their way. You know, you are a great role model. Let's just leave it at that. All right, um, fantastic. Now we're gonna switch gears and get to those Toastmasters questions and find out
Mhm,
about why Cheechin joined Toastmasters and what she got out of it. So, well, we're gonna
mhm.
first ask, do you remember specifically what brought you to Toastmasters?
I remember I got interested to Toastmaster. Actually, I was not aware when I just started working on Post until just some training course. I went to the building 6000 and saw the fair, and Toastmasters had one table over there. And I talked with Nancy, the president back then, and she encouraged me just come to check it out. So I did. I became a guest for a couple months before I joined. I was very inspired by the schedule presentation, and yeah, I think that's how it brought me to the club. And I did want to improve my public speaking skills because I am not a native speaker for English, and I tend to speak too slowly. That's really true even till now. For example, like when I have briefings or do some presentation at the big conferences, of course we rehearse, but I always feel I ran out of my time unless I didn't forget anything. But a lot of the times I would have a few moments of blank, and that the time just kicking. So that's what I think drive me to join the Toastmasters club. The biggest reason.
I remember those fairs that we did, those recruitment efforts. It's great to hear.
Hmm.
It's you came from one of those from it all the work that we put into those recruitment efforts, were
Hmm.
worthwhile. Because I can't remember who joined from what. I can remember some people I met. Oh, I met that person at this open house. Um, but I'm glad Nancy got to talk to you and let you know about the club. That's really great. Um, so after you came and attended, what convinced you or compelled you to join?
I think the major reason is there's a very structured curriculum that we can pick from the website. What paths you want to get to? I think I have two. One is the leadership. So there's several different levels. I remember I achieved to level 4 before I stopped, and those courses actually are very helpful with the instructions step by step and what projects we should do and what presentation we should give. And that really helped me a lot. And also by observing other club members to see how the skills they use and the tips and the feedbacks from the evaluations, those indeed are very helpful for me. And of course, the friendship.
Yeah.
The friendship, I mean, especially I was actually quite surprised that a lot of the members, I'm not quite sure but now, but back then, for like Nancy herself is a leader at ATEC, and then other members, they were either team lead or the leadership role in the respective organizations. So I came out the first few times and I made a conclusion to myself. That's how and why they become leaders. It's like, okay, they probably already have the leadership or they must have something very unique. That's why they become leaders, right? But they are still willing to learn from others and trying to share their experience and to mentor other new members. That's really very inspiring. So that's how I was very encouraged to join, and it's not really too expensive a year.
Right?
So
It's the most
yeah.
affordable, uh, personal growth, uh, career growth program that you can do. At,
Mhm.
I think it's $120 now a year. Back then it was less than 100
Yeah,
when you joined
exactly.
initially.
Mhm.
And then the education program is pretty much the same
Mhm.
right now as it was when you joined, where we still have the online pathways program. They're going to transition it a little bit to a different vendor for the software, and then they're going to reduce how many paths there are. Um,
Uh-huh.
so right now there's 11, and I think they're going to take it down to 5, and it's
Oh.
to really focus in on the um, the 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 skills that you're going to learn from it. Um,
Mhm.
why did it do that?
Specific
This is
skills?
yeah. So um, the paths for the 11, there's like visionary communication, persuasive
Mm.
influence, and what's the other leader? There's another one that's leadership focused, and then
Mm.
there's leadership development, uh,
Mhm.
leadership development. Oh, team collaboration. That was the other one. That I was trying to think of. So those three: visionary communication, persuasive influence, and um, team collaboration. All three of those can be added to the leadership development one because they're
Mhm.
pieces of being a good leader. Uh,
Mhm.
so you don't need a lot of different paths to really
Yeah.
focus on these things because really it was only two or three projects and some of them electives that were deciding how your path was different from the other ones.
Mhm.
So instead of having all these different paths and then only focusing into that area when you get to level 4, level 5, now we'll have 5 paths where then if you want to add that focus, you can still do it in those later levels. But
Mhm.
the first 3 levels are really designed for fundamentals,
Mhm.
um, introducing yourself, getting some basics on leadership and communication, and mentoring, and then getting you to, all right, now we're going to drill down to your specific skills that you want to learn.
Mhm. Makes sense.
So
Yeah.
instead of having all these different directions that you can go from the beginning, change your direction when you get to that level 3, level 4, level 5, and specialize there.
Mhm.
So it's a great program, and I love what they're doing with it with the paths, because when you come in, uh, you might have specific skills that you want to work on. You know, maybe you want to get over your fear of public speaking. Well, presentation mastery is there for that, for
Mhm.
anybody that just wants to get better at speaking
Mhm.
specifically. And then there's people that come in that have some experience with communication and want to grow their leadership skills. They want to or get grow their skills for speaking in certain areas, professionally or humor. There's an engaging humor path um, to help you get better at adding levity to your speeches and pulling in those humorous stories.
Mhm.
All right, so that was we just talked to Chichen about what convinced her to join Toastmasters, and it was the structure. You know, there was a good body, and then the people there to give her what she needed, including friendship. Um, so Chichen, tell us some lessons that you learned from Toastmasters and how you apply them in your career today.
Um, I think the lessons I learned was from the feedback that really I feel personally benefit a lot. I especially like the critiques. I mean, those friendly critiques, like how many the R counters and the wrong grammars, because that's the mistakes. I would not say mistakes, more like errors I make constantly when I speak, especially as a non-native speaker, because I often feel my vocabulary is limited, right? Although I still trying to improve, but there's just some ceiling I have to overcome. And other lessons will be, I mean, that's pretty practical in a practical sense. And others will be, I think, the Toastmaster experience encouraged me more to work my way up to hopefully one day become a better leader, because they're especially working for the government. I feel like on the technical side, there's so much I can do. And I do see those role models from Toastmasters, and I see how they are so organized. Of course, those the scheduled speech you got to prepare, but I really admire other members that they um, could give a talk on schedule with the limited time and such a constructive way, they never become panic or lost their composure, whatever the situation. I think those are very important characters to learn for new members like me or who wanted to have success in their career. So those are the lessons I think I have learned quite valuably from Toastmaster Club during those years.
One thing that I think is most important to learn is that you can't get over that fear, or you
Mm,
can't get over the nervousness or the panic that you feel unless you get up and speak. You got to have
mhm,
stage time to get the experience to feel those feelings and then learn to cope with them in your own way.
mhm.
Um, I
Yeah.
remember, and you talked a bit about the feedback that you got. I remember specifically working with you on a few presentations that you were doing. Going like you would do the presentation for me, and
Uh-huh.
you talk through. All right, this section, you might want to rearrange these words, or maybe take how you're talking about this part and rearrange it, or say something differently so it flows a little bit easier.
Mhm.
And just working on making things a little bit more eloquent, changing some of the words that you're using so they're used properly, and um, being able to sit down with somebody who's not in your career path, somebody who's uh, has ulterior motives to helping you or not helping you, is I think that's really important. Getting somebody outside of your career area to that can look at things in a unbiased and with a different perspective.
Mhm.
I think that's one of the best things that I get out of Toastmasters, um, is having just other people give me that feedback, and it doesn't matter. Their perspective is going to be different from mine, so I'm going to get something new every time.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree.
All right. So we already got a little inkling. Chi-Chin's not doing Toastmasters right now. She's taking time off around a COVID, switching over to virtual, and then the Susquehanna Club closed down. So Chi-Chin
Mhm.
um, stopped doing Toastmasters around that time. And, I've asked her a few times to come to the Fort Monmouth and check it out, but she's been really busy. So I'll let her tell you about why and why not, or why she hasn't joined yet, or why she might. All right, so Chi-Chin, why aren't you doing Toastmasters anymore?
I think the major reason is I just cannot afford time to prepare anymore. It's not just the time to participate in a meeting. And yeah, I struggled quite a bit before I decided to quit because like I said, I do enjoy the friendship and all the skills I learned from there, especially they are very helpful for my briefing skills, which I have no choice but to speak concisely. However, I think the biggest pressure come from I feel like the need to become the officer. And
Sure.
because there's just the limited number of the members, right? So it's not I don't want to be an officer. I think I have a fear I cannot serve as a good officer. So I choose to run away. I mean, that's kind of a more too heavy word, but that's part of the reason. Actually, to be honest, like as after, especially after I became the civilian about 7 years ago, and then my role become more and more multifaceted. It's no longer I just in charge of one program, and like I said, I got my own program. The more I do, the busier I become. I have my own lab, and then the postdoc work for me, and then summer students. There's just so much to catch on, you know. And I feel bad that I was not able to participate the meeting with my full effort. It's like, okay, I'm going to the meeting, but I cannot each time I try to sign up the schedule presentation, but I at the end I feel like I couldn't do it because I just ran out of my time to do just my job, my regular job. And at some point it was very severe that I even have to work on weekends, and I don't even have time to go shopping, grocery shopping, or gardening and clean my house. It's just too much for me, so I have to give up something. It's not that this is not important for me. I feel like I have to take care of the job first, and then to pursue and at least to complete my deliverables. But I feel bad that I would not be able to be a good officer, like become a vice president for education or something like that, because I knew that I would not have time to do it well. So that's
Completely
why I
understandable.
decided to quit Toastmasters.
Chi might be a little workaholic, but as as a civilian, you know, the government owns you, and if you want your
You
programs to
work
be
for free.
successful, you gotta put yourself into it. So, and that's what
Yeah, I
you're
know.
doing.
It's like a balance.
That's your passion, that's what you do. So, that's completely understandable. Toastmasters is a extra thing. It's a hobby. It's training that's going to
Mhm.
help you, and s it's a time commitment that you have to make, and if you don't put that time in, then you don't get the benefit. So if you
Mm.
don't have the time, then I completely understand if you don't take it. And we'd love to have you back. We'd love to see you. Just pop in, you know, tell us a story about something, you know, come visit anytime. We're doing a barbecue next month, so make sure you get that invite. So uh, hopefully you can come and use some of your, you know, free time that you may have to spend some time with us. Get some
That
relax
sounds
in. You can bring a
tempting.
sewing project with you.
I
But
can bring some Japanese snacks I shipped from Tokyo,
oh, nice.
maybe.
But you know, we always enjoyed having you. I loved hearing your stories and seeing your growth from when you started to listening to those technical presentations. You know, it's your amazing changes in how you speak and how you present. So I'm sure it's taken you far in your career. I'm sure it's done a lot for you, and it shows because now you're able to throw yourself into your work and be a, a lead in those labs and inspire other um, young people in your career field and be a role model for those people. So, Chi-Chin, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Um, I want to wrap this up now. Thank you again. Thank you for coming on the
Thank you.
podcast and speaking to the audience about your experiences, your stories, um, and your experiences in Toastmasters. Your answers are going to help current and future Toastmasters develop their skills, get inspired, motivated to keep working at it, and reach new heights. So, thank you.
Thank
Um,
you.
and we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.